The Government Information Unit (GIU) is the communications arm of the Government of Montserrat. We serve as the official platform for news and information for and about the government's ministries and departments. We develop information products on government's policies, programs, projects, and activities, which are then channeled through various communication platforms. GIU, your official source for news and information on the Government of Montserrat. The Government Information Unit (GIU) is the communications arm of the Government of Montserrat. We serve as the official platform for news and information for and about the government's ministries and departments. We develop information products on government's policies, programs, projects, and activities, which are then channeled through various communication platforms. GIU, your official source for news and information on the Government of Montserrat.
Her Excellency, the Governor-designate, Mrs. Sarah Tucker. Her Excellency, the Acting Governor, Mrs. Lindell Simpson. Prayers.
God of all power, truth, mercy, and love. We stand now, God, in your presence, this momentum occasion as a country to welcome, oh God, the new governor, Excellency Sarah Tucker, to serve our beautiful country of Montserrat. We give you thanks and praise, oh God, for those who serve our country before. We are very grateful, oh God, to you for them. And we thank you and praise you, God, and for sending your servant and a husband to us here in this beautiful country of Montserrat, the land we all love and cherish. And as they come, and as a God that she accepts, God, the call to serve in this capacity, we pray for your blessings upon your servant, O God. As she comes so willingly, may she, to God, who avail herself to your will and to your way, not only to come, O God, to lead, but come to learn, to appreciate what we have, our culture, our history, be able to learn and to work with us, that together our country can grow from strength to strength. As she comes, God, that spirit of humility and simplicity, that spirit of compassion, that spirit of love, that spirit of motivation, understanding, wisdom, patience, so that together our country can be a better place. We place her, O God, in your hand. We plead your blood, O God, over your servant, that she may serve and lead, O God, by example. That she may say, God, not my will, but your will, not my way, but your way, and let your will be done in my life. May she put aside her own personal agendas, but to allow you, O God, and to lead her, O God, that others may learn from her. I place her in your hand, her family in your hand, her team members into your hand as well. I place, O God, into your hand the deputy governor as well, and her team members. I place, O God, the premier, his cabinet, and his team members into your hand. I place, O God, now into your hand the opposition leader and his team members, God, into your hand. The Speaker of the House into your hand, O God. The lawmakers into your hand. The civil servant into your hand. That they too can work side by side for the common good of our country. Put aside their differences. Even when, oh God, they disagree to agree, but may, oh God, the disagreement will not divide our country. For we have more to unite us than divide us. We welcome you, O God, in this place. Shower your blessings upon your servant as she comes. She may serve not from her head, but from the heart, and serve accordingly and respectfully. May she seek, O God, your guidance daily, depending on you, O God, for your intervention, depending on you, O God, for wisdom, understanding, to our young people, our next generation will not leave, oh God, our country to go elsewhere. They will see a need to stay and to make a difference. Together we can serve our country and make it better and greater. And so, God, take full control of this proceeding. Bless your servant once again as she comes. And bless our beautiful country of Montserrat. One God, one love, one flag. Together we may serve our country for the common good of all. Bless us now and always. Amen.
Please be seated. Good afternoon. It is a distinguished honor and a privilege to welcome all of you here this afternoon. It is always great when I look up and see the gallery is filled with people, as this house is also the people's house, and we welcome you here every time. And so it's a pleasure to see you here. To our invited guests, we want to thank you for accepting the invitation. We'd like to pay a special welcome to Mr. Tucker and Mr. Simpson, and to all of our past legislators who are here with us, and to the permanent secretaries, directors, students, teachers, and members of the community. A warm welcome to you. This afternoon, we are here to take part in a historic event. This event will become a part of our tapestry here in Montserrat, and we do this about every 4 years, and that is the swearing in of a new governor, Mrs. Sarah Tucker. You would have received in your hand when you entered a program, and we're going to follow the program as is. And so you're going to see a few speeches this afternoon from the Premier, the Leader of the Opposition, the Acting Governor, Mrs. Simpson, the Governor-designate, Mrs. Tucker, and myself. And right after, we'll have the Guard of Honor to the right outside. You're welcome to come outside and to observe, followed by a little short cocktail in the parlor where you'll get a chance to meet the new governor and introduce yourselves. I hope that you would enjoy this afternoon, and we'll proceed with the program. I'm going to welcome to the podium to give us some brief remarks our acting governor, Her Excellency, Mrs. Lindell Simpson.
Madam Speaker, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Madam Speaker, it is a distinct honor to finally be invited to address this assembly in any capacity. I understand some weeks ago that, some invitation was extended. It was never received, but I welcome the opportunity to be here this afternoon. And Madam Speaker, I have to caution you that given the rarity of the honor of addressing this assembly, I may not be as brief as you would perhaps like. In fact, given the rarity, I have been consumed and confused with what to say, because the only thing that kept coming to my mind was my Uncle Ron. And those of you who have the pleasure of knowing my Uncle Ron, you know when he says, "I want to talk," you know what that means. Especially after he would have had a good turn with his friends catching up in Stonebridge and coming back home to his flat in Harlesden. Those who know my Uncle Ron know, after an afternoon like that, when he wants to talk, he wants to talk. However, Madam Speaker, I am mindful that this afternoon I am not sitting in Uncle Ron's living room after a well-spent afternoon in Stonebridge, so I will endeavor to observe the decorum of the House and to temper my remarks. But, Madam Speaker, I am going to beg your leave to incorporate a few thoughts around the public service, governance, and leadership, thoughts that I think are important, not just for the members of this assembly, not just for Mrs. Tucker, the incoming governor, but for the wider Montserrat public at large. And it seemed to me that a logical starting point this afternoon would be to go back to when I assumed the office of Deputy Governor in December of 2016. At that time, Madam Speaker, I assumed the office of Deputy Governor at a time when the mood music of an almost daily ritual, and it was sometimes often thrice daily. It was a mood music against a backdrop of complaints from the political directorate about a public service that they felt was largely unresponsive and unwilling to work with the government of the day. The atmosphere, Madam Speaker, was antagonistic. It was rife with mistrust. It was rife with widespread role confusion. By the end of January 2017, some relationships had irretrievably broken down, and the then governor and I were mired in almost daily discussions about transfers, etc., at varying levels. To clarify this position, Madam Speaker, and to address the gridlock in government and governing, we embarked on a series of developmental interventions under the auspices of what we called the Empowering Excellence Initiative. On the public service side, we began a series of training aimed at ensuring that all parties, governor, deputy governor, permanent secretary, minister, premier, directors, and all public officers understood the source, scope, and limits of their authority, the accountability structure within the public service, and how the public service serves the interests of and implement the policies of an elected government. These efforts continue in the form of regular core management team meetings, departmental and unit meetings, structured leadership and development programs. We are not yet where we would like to be, but we continue to tackle the difficult organizational cultural challenges around discipline, confidentiality, accountability, and service delivery. We continue to challenge and address an organizational culture that limits an elected government's ability to implement policy. At the end of the day, Madam Speaker, a functional public service is not a collection of rugged individualists, with each person pursuing his or her separate agenda. The public service exists to deliver public services efficiently and to implement the policy of the government of the day, whether you voted for it or not. Those who have been in government know quite well the perils of encouraging dysfunction in the public service while in opposition and even in government. I will leave that there. In financial year 2017, Madam Speaker, again under the auspices of the Empowering Excellence Program, a companion piece of work to bridge the gap in understanding of the roles and responsibilities of ministers, permanent secretaries, deputy governor, governor, and the like, was also undertaken. This work continued into 2018 and 2019, and we engaged not just the elected members of the Assembly, but under the leadership of the former Speaker, a wide cross-section of persons with aspirations to hold political office or who had held political office in the past. This work culminated in the development of a ministerial code, which included a declaration of mutual support between ministers and the public service. Unfortunately, this body of work has not been adopted by the political directorate, and it is my sincere hope, Mrs. Turner, that during your tenure, we can have an honest and dispassionate look at the ministerial code, what it is and what it is not, and move it from draft to an active part of the governance framework. In this, Madam Speaker, as we continue the work of reviewing public service management and practice, we will continue to seek to strengthen the management and government systems within the public service. We will roll out a new and modern disciplinary procedure that will empower managers to manage, that will empower managers to address issues of misconduct at the department level. As I continue to stress at management meetings, it is a collective responsibility that all public service managers have to ensure that we foster and maintain a culture that is focused on cooperation, on support, and on service delivery. Madam Speaker, we began in the last financial year to look at our processes with a view to simplifying them and ensuring that processes do not continue to exist for their own sake, but rather that processes work to make services more accessible and available to the citizens of Montserrat when they want it, rather than when it's convenient for the public service. For example, Madam Speaker, some of the issues we have begun to explore. Just take this scenario. A Montserratian applying for a passport will go to the post office to buy a $50 stamp. Then he will go to the registry to apply for a birth certificate. Then he will come to the office of the Deputy Governor to collect a passport application. He will go away, fill it out, and come back to the ODG. We will then give him a little slip of paper to go off to the Treasury to pay the application fee. He will then come back to the ODG with a receipt, all of this before that application is sent off. This, I am sure you will agree, is overly burdensome, time-consuming, and in 2022, wholly unacceptable. To date, Madam Speaker, through the efforts of an amazingly talented young Montserratian employed through the Technical Cooperation Program, on the HRIS front, we have made remarkable progress in digitizing some HR processes. For example, Madam Speaker, the entire process for matters referred to the PSC has been digitized. So whether we are in lockdown or not, those processes continue uninterrupted. For almost all matters requiring a decision from the Deputy Governor, that is done almost seamlessly through an entirely digital process and can be done anywhere and at any time. My most recent challenge in this process, Madam Speaker, was when my Apple Pencil defaulted. In this financial year, the focus will be on reflecting those efficiencies gained by reducing internal processing time into improved response times to persons and departments outside the HR circle. During this financial year, Madam Speaker, we will widen our process review efforts right across the length and breadth of the Office of the Deputy Governor into the Ministry of Communication, Works, Labour and Energy, and the Ministry of Agriculture, Land, Housing and the Environment. Madam Speaker, I have promised the Minister of Communication, Works, Energy and Labour that we will work collaboratively to realize his vision of finding a way to tie up all the disparate digitization efforts across the public service and bring it under one umbrella where systems work together, where systems speak to each other, thereby creating a truly 21st century infrastructure that serves the interests of all of the people of Montserrat. That, Madam Speaker, is a promise I intend to keep. Now, Madam Speaker, we have heard much in this House over many months, perhaps years, of vague and unspecified reports of systemic bullying and other ills levied against public officers by unspecified persons. Yesterday, in his wrap-up on the budget debate, the Premier very humorously and very colloquially dealt with that famous old man who for many years have been in the habit of waylaying some members of this House on their way to this assembly. Today, Madam Speaker, I want to say quite seriously to that old man and to any person really, young, old, or in between, that if you know of any case of bullying, malfeasance, corruption, or any such ill within the Montserrat Public Service, the Governor and I want to know about it. We want to know about it so that we can address it and stamp it out, as these are behaviors that are contrary to those values that we encourage and support. So, bring the particulars, the who, the what, the when, and I assure you, Madam Speaker, that it will be dealt with swiftly and comprehensively. It is in no one's interest, it is not in Montserrat's interest, to continue under the guise of parliamentary concern and through the constant misuse of parliamentary privilege to continue to throw around these vague accusations of corruption and malfeasance simply to score political points. Whether you are in government or in opposition, you have a vested interest in ensuring that the climate is suited for you to govern, if indeed your objective in seeking political office is to pursue a governing agenda that is about the advancement of Montserrat and Montserratians. To the citizens of Montserrat, I will reassure you, the Montserrat Public Service has an established grievance procedure. If grievances are not promptly addressed by line managers, there are avenues that grievances can be taken all the way up to the governor, and managers who fail to deal with grievances promptly and effectively are liable for disciplinary action. Every public officer is aware that genuine grievances reported and substantiated with facts will be addressed. For those who are not in the public service, like that little old man, there is a well-established procedure, a well-established whistleblowing mechanism developed during the COVID-19 emergency response. Madam Speaker, this mechanism is now available to all the citizens of Montserrat for filing a whistleblowing complaint on any matter. You have the option, citizens, to bring the particulars of any complaint to the Complaints Commission, the Auditor General, any permanent secretary or head of commission. Bring the facts. It will be looked into because we all have a vested interest in ensuring good governance. Again, Madam Speaker, we have heard much in this House over many months and over many years about the power of the British. The governor, the deputy governor is a regular feature, and God knows who else. As I listen to this narrative, Madam Speaker, I am sure that I am not alone in questioning why is it our Legislative Assembly is not addressing matters of the Constitution and the laws of Montserrat by legislating. Like every other public officer, I appreciate the love and concern so often expressed by our legislators. However, can I please ask that you show us some love by coming to the table with your ideas for meaningful pension reform? While under the current laws of Montserrat, Madam Speaker, a legislator is eligible for a life pension after 6 years' service, computed at a rate of 25% of highest average earnings. The public officer who joined the service after 31 May 2011, and if born after 1969, must serve a total of 35 years before eligibility for early retirement on a pension computed at 12.5% of highest pensionable earnings. Pension reform, Madam Speaker, is urgent if we are going to seriously treat with issues of retention, as public officers understand that the current status quo does nothing to guarantee retiring with dignity, being able to meet the basic demands of life during retirement without recourse to social services or without recourse to GoFundMe campaigns if it becomes necessary to be retired on grounds of incapacity. The answer, Madam Speaker, is pension reform, not copious letters to give someone his job back. I trust, Mrs. Tucker, that during your tenure, both sides of this House will come to the table with ideas for meaningful pension reform. Another seriously outstanding issue, Madam Speaker, is a revised legal framework for the public service that is truly fit for the 21st century, our current state, and future aspirations. Again, Mrs. Tucker, I sincerely hope that during your tenure, both sides of this assembly will positively engage on this issue. Public servants are concerned. As we welcome a new governor, I must urge that on both sides of the Atlantic, we reflect on our approach to our relationship. The politics of confrontation and entitlement on one hand, and the suspicious and sometimes not hearing our voices approach on the other side must end. It must end if the interests of Montserrat and Montserratians are to be advanced. The politics of confrontation and entitlement, Madam Speaker, have not delivered for our people over these last 26 years. If you doubt me, Madam Speaker, I urge you, look at what is happening in overseas territories, those are the ones who have adopted an approach based on collaboration and coordination. Madam Speaker, I have seen up close 2 administrations and 2 governors. I have seen up close the perils of an approach where we outcompete each other to be most discourteous of the British and to the governor. I have seen this competition play out in cabinet. I have seen it play out in this assembly and elsewhere on both sides of the House. We cannot expect, Madam Speaker, to tackle 21st century issues and challenges with the rhetoric, language, and tactics of the 1940s. 21st century challenges must be met by 21st century representation and approaches. Madam Speaker, I wish to say to all members of this assembly, whether you were divinely called or not to lead this country into the future, your job is not to lead us to repeat the failures of the last 26 years. Madam Speaker, I say this afternoon as a Montserratian whose roots are firmly planted in this land, firmly planted from Trans into Bethel and Harris's, into St. John's, across to St. Peter's, and finally, firmly and for all time, Madam Speaker, in Salem. Madam Speaker, I speak as a Montserratian who, for as long as time shall last, intend to occupy this land and to leave it as a heritage for my children and their generations after them. Madam Speaker, I say to this assembly, it is time that we make the political process truly work for the people of Montserrat. It is time, Madam Speaker, that we give up the almost childlike politics of confrontation and first call. It is time that leadership move the electorate out of the historical cotton fields and truly and firmly on the road to 21st century progress and prosperity. Madam Speaker, again, I say this as a Montserratian whose roots are firmly planted now and for all time in the soil of this land. Madam Speaker, we have a new governor. It is time to stop constantly proving your anti-British, anti-governor street creds. It is time, Madam Speaker, for us individually and collectively to stop the nonsense. It is time to lead. It is time, Madam Speaker, and the time is now, to make the best use of a new governor on the ground. Mrs. Tucker, as I welcome you to this beautiful land, as I welcome you to these beautiful shores, I do so in the tradition of hospitality and welcome to the stranger, bequeathed to me by those ancestors of whom I spoke earlier. It goes without saying, Mrs. Tucker, that you can rely on my professional support and by extension, that of the Montserrat Public Service, as you carry out your mandate on behalf of Her Majesty's government. I remain really grateful, Mrs. Tucker, for the early contact we have had pre-arrival, and I sincerely look forward to deepening our professional relationship as we work together to advance sustained improvements in the Montserrat Public Service. To Mr. Tucker, I believe that you are something of a historical figure. If I'm not mistaken, but I will yield to the historians among us, I believe that this is the first time that we have had a governor accompanied by her husband. I know, Mr. Tucker, from my own personal experience, how very much Mrs. Tucker will rely on your support in all areas to get this very difficult job done. So I welcome you warmly and extend my support and that of my office to assist you in whatever way we can to make your sojourn among us a truly beautiful experience. Mrs. Tucker, I very gratefully yield the privilege and honor of the office of governor of this beautiful land of Montserrat over to you and ask that you hold it as a sacred trust, because the people of this country deserve nothing less. I wish you, as you embark on this very wonderful and amazing job, a very productive and enjoyable tenure. And with those words, Mrs. Tucker, it's all over to you. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Madam Clerk will now read the royal warrant.
Elizabeth II, by the grace of God of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and of her other realms and territories, Queen, Head of the Commonwealth, Defender of the Faith, to our trustee and well-beloved Sarah Georgina Tucker. Greeting. We do by this our commission under our sign, manual, and signet appoint you, the said Mrs. Sarah Georgina Tucker, to be our governor in and over our territory of the island of Montserrat during our pleasure, with all the powers, rights, privileges, and advantages to the said office belonging or appertaining. And we do direct that your appointment shall take effect from the time of your disembarkation in our said territory. And we do hereby command all and singular our officers and loving subjects in our said territory and all others whom it may concern to take due notice hereof and to give their ready obedience accordingly. And we do hereby direct that this our commission shall determine upon signification to that effect being given by us through one of our principal secretaries of state, given at our court of St. James's this 21st day of March 2022 in the 71st year of our reign by Her Majesty's command. Commission appointing Sarah Georgina Tucker to be our Governor of Montserrat.
The Honorable Attorney General will be escorted to the podium to administer the oath.
I, Sarah Tucker, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors, according to law, so help me God. I, Sarah Tucker, do swear that I will well and truly serve Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors, and the people of Montserrat in the office of Governor, so help me God.
Okay, we are going to get into the speeches at this point, and I will start and followed by the Leader of the Opposition, and then the Premier, and then Her Excellency. Your Excellency, Mrs. Tucker, it is my privilege to welcome you to our island home, Aliogana, the land of the prickly bush, the Emerald Isle of the Caribbean, Montserrat, a beautiful place to live. You will experience some of the warmest and most welcoming people you will ever encounter. A place which boasts very low crime rates, the best sunsets and sunrises, landscapes, hills, valleys, and trails to explore. As you embark on your sojourn with us, I encourage you to enjoy our tranquil, green, pristine landscapes while interacting with the people who call Montserrat home. We welcome you as Her Majesty the Queen's representative in this her Platinum Jubilee year. It is indeed a momentous occasion that as an island, we too are celebrating a Platinum Jubilee, that of our 70 years of parliamentary democracy. Though our parliament now resides in a makeshift chamber following the eruptions of the Sophia Hills volcano in 1995, it remains our privilege to preside over a parliament to welcome you. You are arriving in Montserrat at a time in history where there is unrest the world over, a time of COVID, and what it means to be adaptive to this major change and the threat of war. It is a time when Montserratians are eager to chart a better course for ourselves, where the desire to experience self-sufficiency, autonomy, and the desire to experience the same sovereign rights afforded the British citizens living in the United Kingdom is at an all-time high. Montserratians are proud and resilient. The word resilient is not a word we enjoy as a people anymore, because we have done so well at being resilient that it would appear to the average person that we are okay when we are indeed not. However, if you delve a little deeper, you will see that there is much to be done, and your willingness to listen and engage meaningfully will help us to achieve in these areas. It is a time when constitutional changes are needed as a matter of urgency and must be high on the agenda, a time when Montserratians would like to go back into parts of Zone V and reclaim our homes, properties, and where possible, develop our economy. Like Esther in the Bible, perhaps you have arrived here on Montserrat for such a time as this, to help us chart a course to self-sufficiency. Don't get bogged down by the weight of your office. Seek to actively engage with us. These relationships will help your decisions, as this will give you the best indication of just what we need to get ourselves out of this era of post-volcanic redevelopment. We welcome you here not as an overseer or as a watchman, but as a partner, someone who will work with us, work for us, a friend, an ally, who will facilitate our strategic and development plans towards a more independent, self-governing, less dependent people. My desire is that at the end of your tenure, we would want you to stay, that you would have made such an indelible mark that Montserrat would be a more secure, productive, vibrant, and desirable place to live and work. The legislative branch will lend our support in any way that we can. You just need to call. May your tenure, you and Mr. Tucker, in Montserrat be a fruitful and memorable one. Welcome to Montserrat, Your Excellency. I recognize the Honourable Member of the Opposition, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good afternoon to members of Parliament. Good afternoon to our visitors. Today, at this special sitting of Parliament, we have just witnessed the swearing in of our new Governor, Her Excellency Sarah Tucker. On behalf of the opposition, as they would put it, the most loyal opposition, I extend a warm Montserrat welcome and best wishes to Her Excellency and her husband. I am certain that already Her Excellency can attest to experiencing the true Montserratian hospitality in her short stay thus far. Montserrat may be financially or may not be financially rich, but the island is rich in beauty, peace, love, and tranquility. Working in the Emerald Isles is so captivating, sometimes, Your Excellency, you may feel you are on a working vacation. Your Excellency, there is heavy workload awaiting you. However, I invite you to find time to enjoy our beautiful and tranquil island. Montserrat boasts of a rich culture of which, as a people, we are proud. We boast of having the best national dish, and I use this opportunity to recommend to you the Montserrat national dish, the goat water. I guarantee you, it will be so delicious, you're sure to repeat. We are a proud people. Our island is beautiful. We are proud of that. We are proud of our national dish, and maybe most importantly, our core values. Our people set high standards. We hold closely to our heart the core values of commitment and excellence, being resourceful and resilient, respect for God Almighty, transparency, accountability, integrity, justice, and peace. This special sitting of Parliament for the swearing in of Her Excellency is being held on the 70th year of parliamentary democracy on Montserrat. This 70th year of parliamentary democracy is symbolic. Many would have contributed to the start and evolution of Parliament over the last 70 years, and I use this opportunity to acknowledge their significant contributions. The Cabinet of the Montserrat elected government and Her Excellency is expected to work closely in the governance of Montserrat. Your Excellency, you will chair Cabinet with our Honourable Premier and his Honourable Ministers on a weekly basis. But we, the opposition, and at least one member of the government that do not sit in Cabinet, we do wish and look forward to meeting officially with you, the new Governor of Montserrat, from time to time. Your Excellency, the opposition, public servants, and the general public have high expectations of our governor, who is constitutionally responsible for several areas, of which the public service is one of them. the public service has always been held to a high standard. High standards, Your Excellency, of good governance, transparency, and accountability, while at the same time play an important role in delivering services to the public on behalf of the sitting government. I want to go down on record today in thanking, on behalf of the opposition, every civil servant for their commitment and dedication to nation building. Civil servants, and I extend private sector workers, must never be taken for granted. Madam Speaker, I urge every speaker before me, myself, and the speakers after me to look in the mirror. The man in the mirror, the woman in the mirror. Your Excellency, I would like, and I plead with you, as one of your early assignments, you pay attention and address a number of issues and concerns within the public service. These include, and not limited to, anomalies in salaries and allowances, making it difficult to retain and attract staff, to retain and attract critical healthcare staff, to retrain, Your Excellency, teachers, and right across the public service. Madam Speaker, and Your Excellency, I urge you to address claims of victimization and bullying, of which persons and civil servants should have constitutional protection. And I urge you, that is even me, or the leader of the public service at the very highest level, that we depend on you. We have an expectation that you'll address it and stamp it out. I urge you to look at the status of the public sector reform in light of losing $11 million. How do we go forward after losing $11 million to conduct public sector reform? And I call for an executive public service commission. Repeat, I called for an executive public service commission, and I'll leave it there for now. I'm asking you to facilitate workers with disability. Too much talk and no action. Replacing the outdated general orders, and to address transparency, accountability, and justice for all. Your Excellency, the public have high expectations that the areas mentioned above will be given high priority as you take the office of Governor of Montserrat. The people of Montserrat are looking forward to the type of leadership of the public service at the highest level that will practice good governance, not talk good governance, that will look out for the welfare of public servants and motivate them to perform an excellent standard so they could serve our private sector. That is what the citizens of Montserrat deserve, and we, the opposition, stand ready to support you. In closing, Your Excellency, I do wish you well and every success in your new but important assignment as Montserrat's new governor. I thank you.
I recognize the Honorable Premier, Mr. Joseph Easton Taylor Farrell.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Excellency, Governor, parliamentary colleagues, Deputy Governor, distinguished guests, invited guests, school children, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Madam Speaker, through you, I take this opportunity to say a few words of welcome to Her Excellency. Your Excellency, it is my distinct pleasure on behalf of the government and people of Montserrat to bid you a hearty welcome to our shores. At the start of what I consider to be a very important period in the development of this island. You are arriving at a time when the Cabinet in Montserrat took the decision to reopen its borders, and this is significant in that after 2 years of sheltering our peoples, we are once again bidding welcome to visitors and friends of Montserrat. Madam Speaker, Your Excellency, forgive me. You are aware of the impact this pandemic has had on the health of our peoples and on our economies. No country, no nation was spared the wrath of this pandemic. The introduction of vaccines have given us one or more level of defense against the virus. And as a government and people, we are determined to move on with our lives while coexisting with COVID. It is interesting that you're arriving at the beginning of our fiscal year and reporting period. I make this linkage, Madam, Your Excellency, as it provides me with an opportunity to reiterate the critical importance of the public service and their contribution to nation building. In presenting the 2022-23 budget speech, Madam Your Excellency, last March 28th, under the theme, Investing Today to Secure Our Future, Our Montserrat, Our People, I emphasize that this government has been positioning Montserrat for this very moment of renewal. That is, whilst we must remain vigilant, we must also look to the future and plan our economic growth strategically as we move forward. Your Excellency, it has been 27 years plus. This island has been in volcanic mode. My administration has taken the decision to place the volcano behind us and to plan for progressive and successful Montserrat. But this cannot happen, Madam, without the assistance and partnership of the United Kingdom government. My party have a slogan, Your Excellency, together we can. I wish to thank the United Kingdom government for the assistance over these years. And clearly, we look forward for their continued assistance. And of course, some additions, as we continue to strive to become independent, financially independent. I've said it to this House and to the FAM team over and over again. Our ambition is to come out of granting aid. That is our ambition. And we strive for that, Madam, Your Excellency, to come out of granting aid. But we cannot achieve this on recurrent budget alone. We need a package of serious capital investment, not just investment to replace the assets that we have lost, but investment to renew the efforts that we have made, to replace those assets, and to build new ones, for instance, like this Parliament building, Your Excellency. Madam Speaker would have noted that we are operating as a parliament in a makeshift building where the wind is disturbing our papers, where we have no private office or room to discuss a session at break time. This is critical and important for us. And I'm certain that you would have heard it's already in the corridors of FCDO and no doubt Whitehall. Your Excellency, I look forward to a detailed briefing to expand our visionary outlook for Montserrat, and more specifically, how the public service can facilitate our achievements and in the future. There are a few key areas I wish to raise now, and there are much more. I don't wish to burden you nor this House, because you'll be hearing from us time and time again. It's our aim, Your Excellency, to build a sustainable economy with the support of the United Kingdom government and the hard-working people of this island. It's not our intention just to seek handout. We intend to work hard, to work in partnership so that we can achieve our goal. I believe the success of this country is a success story for the UK government. Reforming the public service and enhancing operational efficiency and the service delivery within the sector for it to contribute to economic growth and development. It is paramount that the public service, they are hard-working, but there is need for that efficiency to which the Deputy Governor spoke of early on, where we can deliver a service with efficiency, both time and product. Digital transformation is a key tool in our development strategy, led by Deputy Premier Honorable Samuel Joseph and his team at the ICT unit within the Ministry of Communication, Works, Labor, and Energy. They are determined, Your Excellency, to improve the efficiency and quality of service we provide to the public, to our stakeholders, be it public or private sector. We are determined to make sure that individuals and business people who wish to invest in this country do not spend 3 or 4 days to get an idea of what needs to be done. Neither do we need an investor to walk through 3 or 4 offices just to be told what next. And that is the power of digitization, where an investor can sit in the office and fill all the forms and pay all the bills, pay all the payments. That is enticement. That is encouragement. This is the level of efficiency which we are looking for in the public service if we are going to attract foreign direct investment. Renewable energy, Your Excellency. As a government, we have set ourselves the goal to become the first island in the Caribbean to become 100% renewable energy efficient by 2035. This position has been articulated to Minister Milling in our bilateral with her at the last JMC. The Deputy Director and the rest of the technical team in London are all aware of our plans to utilize geothermal, solar, and possible wind to meet our energy needs going forward. Your Excellency, a continued mutual beneficial working relationship between the governments of the United Kingdom and Montserrat is paramount. the governor and government must maintain a partnership for progress, where both sides work together to produce a better quality of life for Montserratians and the generations following, and to create an accelerated path for sustainable development of this country. Therefore, Your Excellency, based on my understanding of your theme areas of interest, I'm keen for us to explore some strategic development initiatives relating to some areas. I briefly outline above some of the others that we wish for us to talk to. Others will surface as we meet from time to time to discuss the island's future development strategies. I cannot but otherwise indicate how impressed I am with your business acumen. It is my hope that we would be able to leverage on the combination of your private sector experience and your working knowledge of the FCDO so that the island can benefit from them both. Your Excellency and Mr. Turner, on behalf of the government and people of Montserrat, I bid you a very warm welcome. And in addition to the exercise of your executive powers, duties and responsibilities, I am sure both of you will find time to experience our outdoor soft adventure tourism products such as hiking, bird watching, and water sports. Of course, you must go searching for the Montserrat Oriole. You'll also find time to cultivate presentations such as captivating masquerades, which is an icon for our country. And of course, my colleague on the other side mentioned a little earlier, our culinary delights, including our national dish, goat water. You can have it from different vendors, different quality, of course, depending on who, different tastes. I urge you to taste it as soon as possible. We are eager to extend to you through Montserrat hospitality. And all of us, as Montserratians, parliamentarians, as residents, we look forward to working with you for your success, but more so for the success of this country. Welcome to this island.
I will now invite Her Excellency Mrs. Tucker to deliver her address.
Invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your very kind welcome and for your advice and your challenge, all of which I heard, all of which I listened to. It's an honour to be here as your Governor, and I thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to speak. As many have said, this year is of course a very special year, being the Platinum Jubilee both for the Montserrat Parliament and for Her Majesty the Queen. And I look forward to celebrating her 70 years as our sovereign together in June. Howard and I are both delighted to be here, to make Montserrat our home, and to accept the responsibility and honour of representing Her Majesty, and most importantly, serving the people of the island. I pledge to you that I will work hand in hand with your elected politicians to support and promote Montserrat, in partnership, forward-looking, and always for the benefit of the Montserratian people. When we flew in yesterday, the beauty of the island struck us, and having spent a few months following the local social media, we were delighted to be fortunate enough to see one of the famous sunsets for ourselves on our very first evening. I know that my predecessor, Mr Andrew Pearce, and his wife, Pompon, had a wonderful 4 years here, and I know his dedication will have a lasting impact. Andy loves Montserrat, he enjoyed the flora and fauna, and was an active conservationist, and we look forward to doing some of the hikes he has recommended over the coming weeks. I am grateful to the Deputy Governor for her role as acting Governor these past few weeks. I look forward to our working closely together and benefiting from your experience, particularly in my first few months whilst I get to know Montserrat and start to understand the opportunities and challenges ahead. And you have made me clear on some of those already today. I thank you. I look forward to working with the Honourable Premier, with all Honourable Ministers, members of the Opposition, and the members of the Legislative Council. I recognise the continued dedication of the elected politicians and will work to empower the local democratic institutions. The recent work as part of CARICOM in supporting Ukraine is an example of Montserrat's position at the head table in the Caribbean, setting positive and proactive direction. The support Montserrat and its government has shown publicly, condemning the unlawful invasion by Putin, demonstrates strong and democratic leadership, both here in the Caribbean and across the globe, and it is something to be immensely proud of. My thanks to the various government authorities for ensuring all sanctions continue to be actioned swiftly. I know this has required agile and detailed work. Working collaboratively achieves the best outcomes. The Premier and his team demonstrated this with a positive conclusion at this year's financial aid mission and in delivering a balanced budget last week. This collective approach led to the UK providing over £28 million worth of funding for the new port in Little Bay, almost doubling the original commitment. I would like to pay tribute to the Office of the Premier, the Ministry of Communication, Works and Labour, including the local project management team, for their hard work and collaboration with my predecessor, the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, and the Caribbean Development Bank in securing the financing for this important project. I promise that as your Governor, I will work with the Premier and the UK Government to ensure that long-promised projects are delivered. The current capital investment programme from the UK will fund the new hospital and improved health provision. But as the Premier has said, there is more to do. My office will continue to support the Government in developing a strategic plan for the next phase of capital investment, with the shared ambition of increasing employment opportunities, greater self-sufficiency, and supporting economic growth. I know the Government of Montserrat has an ambitious strategy to be carbon neutral by 2035, with work already underway. And I hope to play my part in helping identify ways of achieving this target, which will be good for Montserrat, good for the planet, and will increase our resilience. Before leaving the UK, I was able to explore some Cornish geothermal sites just to see what is possible when you invest in this green energy. The volcano has brought much destruction, but we now need to harness its power to support fiscal development. I am keen to ensure that the UK Government provides the necessary support to make geothermal energy a reality. Education is the basis of all development. Encouraging young people to explore and learn is just so rewarding as they develop their knowledge with brains like sponges. We are so lucky to have such rich opportunities here in Montserrat. History, geography, science, all on our doorstep. We must never forget that today's children are the future of the territory. There is a lot of excitement and interest in Montserrat in schools across the UK. I have already received numerous requests from teachers who want to link their classes with the schools here, to learn from one another, and to make use of the now normal online accessibility across the globe. And I hope that is something we can progress this year. Developing opportunities to learn new skills in territory to support our emerging economy is really important. But of course, many Montserratians go overseas for higher education, and we need to offer returning adults positive career opportunities and entice them to come home and bring the benefits of their learnings. Talking about the younger generation of Montserrat, I saw that the UK cricket teams are getting some much-needed great additions this summer. So I wish Dino Baker, Jamil Kabi, Caswan Sullivan, Christian Yearwood, Travis Harrison, and to Andy White every success for the weeks ahead. As a democratic territory, it remains essential that we continue to have respect for the law, that we operate strong and transparent good governance, and that we are mindful of the threats that we, like every other territory, faces in the world today: corruption, money laundering, drug and people trafficking, and serious crime. We need to remain vigilant. I'm aware of the new legislation in draft, such as the Public Procurement Act, to continue to strengthen governance, ensuring transparency and accountability. I have spent a lot of my career in governance areas, most recently in the British Virgin Islands during the Commission of Inquiry, enabling me to review controls and look for new ways of ensuring the right level of accountability and transparency is in place. I know that Montserrat is different, and you are rightly proud of the low crime rate and the safe community you have built. I will support the Government of Montserrat as it does new legislation and puts in place new controls. I would like to thank the Honourable Attorney General and Honourable Financial Secretary for all of the work they do and their commitment in ensuring we take action against anyone that seeks to undermine the good governance of Montserrat. The Royal Montserrat Police Service and our public service are responsible for ensuring our laws and regulations are enforced fairly, proportionately, and without fear of favour. I am grateful for the continued dedication of all of our officers, police, prison, fire, and the Royal Montserrat Defence Force. We live in ever-changing and challenging times. We must ensure we have the resources and the skills to continue to protect Montserrat. I was pleased to learn from my predecessor of the additional police resources funded by the FCDO to support the RMPS and its objectives. As a public servant myself, I understand all too well the challenges and the pressures departments face, with a need to deliver consistently whilst undergoing continual reform and transformation. In public service, the only constant can be change. As Albert Einstein said, life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. We must continue to evolve our public service, ensuring it is fit for purpose, affordable and accessible. And we have to make sure that working in the public service is a positive, inclusive and rewarding experience for all of its officers. I'm aware of the ongoing work that's happening and I support its continuation. We will continue to build on the digitalisation and make improvements for the people of Montserrat. I will seek ways to ensure it both enhances the opportunities for civil servants, encouraging officials to continue to progress, to reach out and learn from each other, whilst building an agile, modern public service to support a modern Montserrat, its government and its people. I look forward to working with the Honourable Premier and his Cabinet, the Public Service, the RMPS and the UK Government in the best interest of the Territory and its people. As we look ahead, hurricane season will soon be upon us. We pray for a gentle year, but it is important we are ready for anything that Mother Nature sends us. I would like to pay tribute to the Disaster Management Coordination Authority. I'm looking forward to working with Lieutenant Colonel Ryan and his team to ensure a continued high level of disaster preparedness. I took note of the findings of the recent Scientific Advisory Council visit. We must not be complacent, and we must remain vigilant. Disaster preparedness is a collective responsibility. I will be engaging with the disaster management team on their plans for exercises over the coming weeks, which, when in place, I hope to join. The last 2 years have been particularly difficult, with the global pandemic affecting every country. And I know here in Montserrat, the health teams have worked tirelessly to ensure the safety and well-being of the Territory. They've been able to establish testing facilities, contain outbreaks, and roll out vaccines, an incredible achievement. It's been a very difficult time for everyone, and sadly COVID has not gone away. It is having further waves across the world. I urge everyone that is eligible to consider getting vaccinated and boosted. It will not stop you catching COVID, but it will significantly reduce the risk of being hospitalised. And my thanks go to the UK Government today for the delivery of further Moderna boosters, which I understand will be arriving this afternoon. COVID has affected people in different ways. I recognise the challenges everyone has faced, the sacrifices people have made, and the impact that this has had on individuals, on businesses, and on mental health. Talking to Suffolk Social Services, a UK team twinned with Montserrat, I heard firsthand of the commitment and energy of engagement of our social service team here, building our knowledge of both physical and mental health support requirements to ensure every member of our society gets the help they need when they need it. As a mental health first aider myself, I know how important it is for everyone to be able to talk about their mental well-being and get the right help at the right time. I hope that the year ahead will be better as we find our way both here and across the globe to live with COVID-19. In Montserrat, as the Premier said, we have started that transition. By continuing with protocols and testing on arrival, we have now reopened our borders to the world. I was one of the new arrivals with a simple rapid test yesterday. It was quick and efficient, and my thanks to all of the airport team that enabled a smooth process. These changes will allow visitors to return once again. The work of the Tourist Board in rebuilding this important economic pillar is essential. I hope as your Governor, I can play a supporting role in showcasing all that Montserrat has to offer. I spent most of my career in the private sector, working in global organisations in a number of business roles, marketing, commercial, supply chains, before joining the FCDO in 2011, again in a commercial role. I led the organisational change programme for its corporate delivery, and most recently, I was based in the British Virgin Islands, a sister overseas territory, which gave me some insight into the Caribbean, although of course no two countries are the same. I know that Montserrat has a rich and varied history, a warm heart, friendly people, a passion for music, and we're looking forward to learning more and to being part of this society. And I've already put a call out for the best goat waters, so I'm waiting to hear who's going to offer me to try that first. Howard and I in the UK leave our 3 adult sons, Josh, Sam and Joe, but I know they're already setting plans to visit and see for themselves this amazing place. In closing, Madam Speaker, I am honoured and excited to stand here today as your Governor, and I know this will be the most challenging role of my entire career. Like everyone, I am human, so I will not get everything right, but I always do my very best to listen, to learn, and to take decisions based on facts. Howard and I are committed and dedicated to work alongside and in support of the Montserratian people. We hope to gain your trust, and with God's help, promise to work with integrity, honesty, and openness, values you should expect from anyone who is working on your behalf. Thank you for such a warm welcome. I look forward to working with and for you all. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
At this moment, I'm going to ask us to stand as the Governor and the Deputy Governor are escorted out. And then I'm going to ask you to remain where you are while we adjourn the Parliament, and then we will go outside and join them. Thank you. I recognize the Honourable Premier.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to move a motion for the adjournment of this marathon session of our Parliament. So move a motion, Madam Speaker.
I recognize the Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, I rise to second the motion for the adjournment of this Parliament. Signed, aye.
It has been moved and seconded that this Honourable House now stands adjourned. All those in favour say aye. All those opposed, nay. And the ayes have it. This Honourable House now stands adjourned.
The Government Information Unit, GIU, is the communications arm of the Government of Montserrat. We serve as the official platform for news and information for and about the government's ministries and departments. We develop information products on government's policies, programs, projects, and activities, which are then channeled through various communication platforms. GIU, your official source for news and information on the Government of Montserrat.
Over the years, vaccines have protected us from serious diseases like whooping cough, chickenpox, polio, measles, and others. Vaccines help your immune system do its job better and faster, and that protects you from serious diseases. Like a police officer, your immune system is always on patrol in your body looking for invading germs. When it comes across a germ, it begins releasing antibodies to fight the germ. These antibodies work to attack, weaken, and destroy the germ. The COVID-19 vaccine is no different. It will work to help your immune system fight COVID-19 effectively. You are important to your family and friends. Vaccines bring us closer. Choose to get vaccinated.